Formula One is about to witness an unprecedented historic moment. After almost 20 years, Red Bull Racing will face a world championship stage without Christian Horner leading the team's operations. The man selected to carry this colossal responsibility is preparing for what analysts describe as a true baptism of fire. But does Laurent Mekies have the qualities necessary to preserve the legacy of one of the most successful teams in the sport? The Belgian Grand Prix at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit represents much more than just another race on the 2025 calendar. This will be Laurent Mekies' official debut as Red Bull Racing Director, taking over the position following Christian Horner's explosive departure shortly after the British Grand Prix. For fans of the sport, Horner was much more than just a team manager. He was the mentor responsible for one of the most dominant eras in the sport, leading Red Bull throughout Max Verstappen's career to 4 consecutive world titles. Now, for the first time since the Austrian team's arrival in the top flight of motorsport, Horner will not be present at a race weekend. But who is Laurent Mekies really? And why is his appointment causing such excitement and tension? Mekies is not a complete stranger to the category. He comes directly from Racing Bulls, Red Bull's partner team, where he gained important experience, albeit in a totally different context. Racing Bulls is a team that aims for sporadic points, where the pressure is lower and visibility is much more discreet. Now, Mekies will face a relentless reality, leading a team that includes Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda, where anything less than victory is seen as failure, where every word is scrutinized by the international press, and where the behind-the-scenes competition is as fierce as the battles on the track. And this pressure could not have come at a more sensitive time. Red Bull Racing is going through a period of internal turmoil that few believed possible years ago. After all the controversy surrounding Christian Horner at the beginning of last season, which resulted in internal investigations and an unprecedented reputation crisis, the team lost key members of its organization. Adrian Newey, the aerodynamics master responsible for the winning designs, has already confirmed his departure. Jonathan Wheatley, sporting director and Horner's main collaborator for years, has also left the team. And now, with Horner's definitive departure, many uncertainties remain about who else may be considering new horizons. Jolyon Palmer, former driver and current analyst, was blunt in characterizing what he expects for Mekies at Spa. According to Palmer, Red Bull's new boss is marching straight toward a baptism by fire from the specialized press. And that observation is not an exaggeration. During a Formula One race, the head of a team like Red Bull must give press conferences, attend official meetings with the FIA, talk to global television stations, and answer questions that can range from racing tactics to the most controversial behind-the-scenes issues at the team. For someone accustomed to the more discreet environment of Racing Bulls, this exposure will be a real shock. But Mekies' biggest obstacle is probably not facing the media, but rather demonstrating to his own organization that he has the competence to maintain the standard of excellence that has made Red Bull the dominant force we know today. The mechanics, engineers, and the entire team organization are accustomed to a level of coordination and command that few can provide. Christian Horner, regardless of the controversies, was recognized as one of the best managers in the paddock, capable of extracting maximum performance from both the vehicles and the competitors. Now, with the departure of so many important names, there is an atmosphere of uncertainty hanging over Milton Keynes. And here comes a key point that cannot be overlooked. Red Bull still has Max Verstappen. The 4-time Dutch world champion is famous for his ability to raise his game when the pressure is on, especially at circuits such as Spa-Francorchamps, where he has already achieved unforgettable victories. Verstappen is the kind of competitor who can overcome the car's limitations with pure technique and determination. If there is one thing that can help Mekies in his debut, it is having one of the greatest talents in the history of the category at his disposal. Alongside him, Yuki Tsunoda is also showing steady growth. and could be a key player in scoring important points for the Constructors' Championship. But we must not forget that the rivalry is more intense than ever. Ferrari, with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, promises to form one of the most threatening duos of the season. The seven-time English champion arrived at the Italian team with the experience and thirst of someone who still wants to prove that he can compete for another world title. McLaren, with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, is establishing itself as a genuine force, capable of competing on equal terms with any team on the grid. And even Mercedes, with George Russell and young Andrea Kimi Antonelli, cannot be ruled out of the fight for the top spots. The Spa stage will also follow a sprint format, which adds even more tension for Mikis. In sprint races, decisions must be made instantly, mistakes are magnified, and there is not much time to correct problems that may arise. For a rookie team principal, this fast-paced dynamic can be especially tricky. Every strategy option, every pit stop call, every technical decision will be scrutinized not only by the media, but also by the drivers themselves and the team structure. This raises an intriguing question. Has Red Bull Racing managed to preserve its winning culture even after so many changes? A Formula One team is not just about fast cars and skilled drivers. It is about a collective mindset, a way of working under pressure, an ability to make the right decisions at the most crucial moments. Christian Horner, Adrian Newey, and Jonathan Wheatley were not just collaborators. They represented pillars of a philosophy that transformed Red Bull from a fledgling team into a dynasty. Now, with Laurent Mekies taking the reins, the big question is whether he can maintain that essence while making his own mark as a leader. Palmer highlighted another key aspect: the emotional state of the organization. According to him, many Red Bull employees are looking around and wondering who will be the next to leave. This psychological instability could be more damaging than any technical deficiency. When a team does not trust the stability of its structure, performance is inevitably affected. Therefore, one of Mekies' main missions in Spa will be to convey confidence, show that he has a clear plan, and that Red Bull remains a place where great professionals want to work and evolve. But let's be practical about expectations. Laurent Mekies will not solve all of Red Bull's problems in one step. The leadership transition in a Formula One team is a complex process that can take months to show consistent results. What we can expect at Spa is a first impression of how he intends to run the organization, how he handles media pressure, and whether he can maintain the motivation of a group that has undergone so many recent changes. And then there is the technical issue. Red Bull still has one of the most advanced structures in the paddock, with state-of-the-art facilities and a wealth of information accumulated over years of development. The 2025 car, even without Adrian Newey at the helm, still carries the DNA of excellence that characterizes the team. If Mekies can preserve this technical advantage while building his own identity as a leader, Red Bull can remain a dominant force in the championship. However, if results do not come quickly, the pressure will intensify exponentially. Formula One is unforgiving, and a team accustomed to victory will not accept mediocrity. Red Bull fans around the world expect to see Max Verstappen fighting for his fifth consecutive title, and anything less will be considered a failure. For Laurent Mekies, this is the relentless reality that awaits him every weekend from here on out. The Belgian Grand Prix may be just the first chapter in a new era for Red Bull Racing, but it will be a decisive chapter in understanding whether Laurent Mekies has what it takes to keep one of the greatest dynasties in modern Formula One alive. The baptism of fire is set, expectations are sky high, and the whole world will be watching every move made by the Austrian team's new director. Will he be able to prove that Red Bull remains the benchmark in the category? Or will this be the season that sees the end of an era of domination? The answers will begin to be written on the challenging corners of Spa-Francorchamps.